Hello, welcome to my channel, Sea of Infinity. In this video, just want to do a quick little reading for you from the Wild Witch Oracle deck. So if this reading has found you, then I trust that it is for you. However, as always with timeless collective readings, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and use your own discernment. Okay, let's see what messages of guidance wish to come out today for you. God, Spirit, Mother Gaia, Angels, Archangels, Ascended Masters. What messages of guidance do you have for the collective today? What messages of guidance wish to come out? How many? Well, that was only 2, so we'll take those 2. And then maybe we'll go one more wishes to come out for the collective at all today. One more, please. One more for the collective. Let's see. Oh, that one seemed to want to come out. Okay, let's maybe move them down a smidgy. So we've got number 28, Sinan, don't wait for permission. Number 39, Freya, hold on to your center. And number 34, Black Anise, you're not for everyone. You know, there's quite a few different animals out here as well that, you know, may resonate for you or be a little sign or synchronicity as well. You know, with the black birds, you know, whether they're like a crow or a raven or something, or I'm not sure if that's meant to be an eagle or a hawk, but and then the owl, a black panther, a fox. I notice as well it stands out a few of the circular shapes in each of these cards. Might be a little sign or synchronicity for you too, kind of, you know, reminding me of the moon a bit, and then also the sun here as well with the more orangey one. So the sun or the moon, or the sun and the moon might be a little sign and synchronicity for you as well. Okay, so this first card here is coming out to, you know, really encourage you to follow your heart and follow your intuition, no matter what, you know, the outside world or the powers that be or what have you, you know, sort of rules or orders or ideas or beliefs might be saying to the contrary, to instead, you know, listen to that guidance from within yourself. And not being afraid to, you know, break the rules, if you wish to say, in order to do so. You know, and sometimes following the forbidden path, if you will, that's, you know, not necessarily forbidden, but just frowned upon or what have you by other people, or, you know, non-resonant beliefs or ideas. But doing so, you know, can at times, you know, not exactly be the smoothest pathway or journey. You might, you know, receive a lot of backlash or friction along the way. But to know that that doesn't mean, you know, it's the wrong choice or anything like that. But sometimes, you know, taking the new path can be a little more difficult at first. You know, kind of like when you go hiking or something like that, and the trail or the common path that everyone follows is, you know, regularly taken, so it's easy to see, easy to walk, it's a smooth pathway. But if you were to, you know, go off the beaten track, so to speak, and forge a new pathway, you know, through the bush or, you know, through the forest, sometimes that can be, you know, a little more bumpy and rocky, and it hasn't quite been trodden down completely. but it could lead to, you know, a much more wonderful and magical destination that, you know, was hidden away. So encouraging you to forge the path that is illuminated by your soul, you know, moving forward into where you feel destiny is calling you, and not being afraid to invoke divine support to guide you and support you along on your journey, but doing so, you know, with decisiveness, you know, with determination, no matter what sort of, you know, challenges or initiations or transformations may be, you know, popping up or required for you to pass through. But to know that, you know, you are still going the right way, and that it'll be bringing about so much wondrous opportunities for yourself, because you have that calling within you for a reason. So, you know, not waiting for permission, as it says here, and being true to your desires, doing what you feel you must do, and listening to and acting on that little voice and whisper of your heart or of the divine, and having the courage to do so. Okay, and then the next card here, Freya. And she's coming out as a goddess of love and war, you know, a goddess of beauty and death. So really holding that energy of, you know, courageous, passionate love. Calling you to fall into passion and love in a way that still, you know, strongly supports your own self and your own inner nature. You know, not falling into passion in a way that it becomes neediness or desperation, or falling head over heels in a way that you lose your center. Instead, always, you know, still paying attention moment to moment to your feelings, opinions, and desires, and not restricting them due to any other, you know, outside energies or forces. You know, not hiding yourself out of fear of thinking, you know, that will mean you won't get love, you know, from someone or a situation, because instead that's just making your true self invisible, and then you aren't receiving love anyway, and not true love, because they're not even seeing who you are to give you that true love. So allowing what's not resonant and not aligned to fall away, rather than changing or morphing yourself to fit something else. You know, living from your authenticity and from your truth, so that the relationships and love that is most aligned to you will naturally gravitate towards you, because you're embodying that energy. And doing this as a way of loving yourself and having self-respect for yourself. You know, having the courage to be brave, to choose yourself, to be yourself, and live with these sort of self-honoring values where you don't diminish yourself or make yourself small to appease others. Okay, so then the final card here, Black Anise or Anise. She's coming out as a goddess of nature and magic, and really has a similar message to the other cards here, which is so beautiful how they all intertwine. But really encouraging you to be yourself, even if that means you are misunderstood, you know, accepting that you may not be for everyone, but not allowing that to deter you from being who you are. You know, often unique or gifted or creative or intuitive sort of people have been feared or marginalized, you know, for a very long time through history and society. So not allowing those sort of old beliefs or paradigms or way of being to make you, you know, limit or restrict yourself or make yourself smaller. Not allowing other people's presumptions or prejudices to color your own self-image, to really instead tap into who you are and know who you are and stand strongly in that. Not allowing outside energies to dictate who you are to yourself. And even if, not everyone, understands you or gets that, staying true to yourself in a way that means that other people will, there will be those who see you and get you and respect you for who you are. Not allowing your light to be dimmed or your voice to be silenced by the fears or expectations of others. Being brave enough to patiently but assertively share your perspectives and take action on behalf of positive change. And, or if you're angry, allowing your anger to express itself. If you're frustrated with injustice, allowing your feelings and perspectives to be known in that way. Not feeling like you have to just go with the status quo in that way, and that you can voice and share your opinion and make change not only within your own reality but your outer reality in that way, no matter who does or doesn't like it. And also it comes with some little guidance that spending time alone can really help you hear your own guidance, get in touch with yourself more deeply, recalibrating your outer actions with those core inner values that you have, to truly remember who you are without those outside energies kind of, interfering or influencing the way you see things or view yourself or perceive the world. So spending time alone without technology or time in nature to really connect and recharge with the earth in that way, to connect back to that inner nature of your own self. So a really great and powerful message coming out here combined between the three cards. Really, really encouraging and a really, really strong message of being yourself and not being afraid to do so, not waiting for permission or just following the status quo or rules, doing what you feel right and what you feel called to do, following your own path. Holding on to your own center in a way where you don't diminish yourself to appease others, and give yourself, that self-love and respect. So all that passionate energy can be, aligned to you with external energies as well. Because, no one can truly connect to and love you in that deep, intimate way if they can't see you in that sort of way. If you're diminishing yourself or making yourself smaller to appease others around you, than the ones who are aligned with you or meant for you, or who have the energy or capacity to love you in the way you as your true self, deserve to be loved. It may not be as easy for them to see you or recognize you if you're, altering or diminishing yourself to appease other energies. And accepting, that you may not be for everyone, but staying true to yourself and connecting to who you really are on the inside. The way you feel, what you care about, your values, what you're passionate about, and not being afraid to express that. So a really, really powerful and strong message coming out here today with, some really powerful goddess energy. To be yourself, to love yourself, to follow, what feels right for you and following your heart. And knowing that will bring about so much more aligned joy and blessings and abundance and happiness for you, rather than trying to squeeze yourself into a box that you don't even belong in the first place. Instead, spreading your wings and soaring to where you're meant to be. We're not all meant to be the same and just conform into, one particular way or avenue. We're all meant to be, uniquely and beautifully ourselves. All a unique little facet of source energy. And the more that we all are, able to express ourselves in that way and live our lives in that way, the more beautiful and diverse and magical, life and reality itself becomes. Like a beautiful painting, with infinite different rainbow colors, rather than just a painting of all one color. Staying true to your divine inner nature, the way that God created you to be, rather than the way reality may be trying to form you to be. Not allowing the matrix to suck you in that way, to just be another, autonomous robot, but being that divine, bright spark of source energy that you were born here to be. As God's will has intended. All right, well, a very, very beautiful and encouraging message to come out, to know that you are loved, you are beautiful, and you are unique just the way you're meant to be. So not being afraid to be yourself, to love yourself, to respect yourself, and to really follow your heart and passions and desires. Knowing that you are who you are and you feel what you feel for a reason, and not needing to shame yourself for that, or box yourself in, or diminish yourself in any way, allowing yourself to shine freely and beautifully. All right, well, I'll leave this message here for now. Sending you so much peace, love, light, and blessings as always. Bye.